Once again, our hearts are heavy with grief. Sarah Milgrim of blessed memory and Yaron Lishchinsky, two young Israeli diplomats. By the way, I'm sure you follow the news, but you know that Yaron, the father was Argentinian and Jewish, the mother is Christian and German, and he's Israeli. So he has all the identities in it. So when they say they want to kill Jews, they kill, and obviously they enjoy very much killing Jews. But he has several identities, but he was an Israeli, and a Zionist Israeli, and Zionist Christian, serving his country, Israel. Two people devoted to service, to dialogue, to building bridges, and they were brutally murdered in Washington, D.C., outside the museum. A place meant to honor memory, a place meant to safeguard dignity, and yet their lives were ended there in the name of a slogan that claims to seek freedom, but was weaponized to justify hatred and cold-blood murder all over the world. It's hard to find the words. I find some words yesterday night. We tried to find some different words this morning. It's hard to breathe, but it's impossible not to speak about this, because we are living through a time of rising instability, not only in the country, but in every Jewish community all over the world. In Israel, in diaspora, on campuses, in boardrooms, online, and on the streets. We feel very exposed. Sometimes even questioned for just existing. We wonder, do our voices matter? You know, every time I see they gather and they start, our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, you know. I have enough of that statement. Take care of the people. Our thoughts and prayers. It's like a national sport now, giving condolences to Jews. Do our lives count? And then comes the question that pierces deepest. Where do we find the strength to go on when it feels like there is no more strength left? Our tradition doesn't pretend these questions are easy, but it does offer us stories where to go. This is what we always did. We went back to stories. And as I mentioned before, when I introduced the Haftorah of the week, I was learning both of the Haftarot, both of the text of the prophet Jeremiah. They are supposed to read if the parsha of the week is combined, and if it's not combined. And I find more inspiration. It happens in the one that we are not supposed to read this Shabbat, but yes, if it's only one parsha. And part of the consolation, or where to go back, comes from the word of the prophet Jeremiah. He lived through one of the most hopeless periods in Jewish history. Jerusalem was under siege. The people were about to be exiled. The temple was about to be destroyed. Jeremiah himself was in prison, locked away for speaking difficult truth. He spoke what people didn't want to hear. And in that moment, in that darkness, he does something that you will find completely absurd. So before I tell you what he did, what do you think? What can a person who is in jail, seeing how his hometown is being burned and destroyed, it's coming, what will a person like this do? He decided to buy land in Jerusalem. He bought a field in a city falling apart. He even signed a contract, sealed it in clay jar, and says, quoting, "Houses and fields and vineyards shall yet again be bought in this land." Loco. Loco. Think about those who had the blessing of investing in a chiquito departamento someplace. You will do it in a city that is surrounded, it's being collapsed, it's being destroyed, people are being raped and murdered. You no, leave me alone. I'm okay. But Jeremiah understood that hope is not an emotion, it's an act. Buying land in a besieged city is not about real estate. It's a statement of faith in a future that hasn't yet arrived. And that's our challenge too, to continue to show up with our Jewishness, with our mitzvot, with our stories, with our songs, in a world that sometimes tells us we don't belong. You know, it happens, I'm sure it happens to you too, but I had the chance, like 4 months ago, I needed to do a long trip in a bus. No? In those buses that you can also sleep, you sleep, get a schloff in the bus. I cannot sleep even in my bed, but I pretend I was sleeping. And I watch what the lady in the front, no, it's a true story, MS. I was looking what she looked in the Instagram. Verstehst? I confess. No one of the shtick that she watches is in my Instagram. We live in two different worlds, you understand? She was in shoes and in sports, in endus, in enyents, and the only thing that comes to me, how many Jews are suffering, how many Jews are being killed, what this says, what the other says. Two worlds. This is the reality. Free Palestine, free. They said Shmegege now with 3.5 million. An idiot. He looks like he needs to go just put him in psychiatrist. And he has 3.5 million. And he says that what happened, it's absolutely amazing. You need to go and do it again because he just killed. You know what I'm talking about? Loco. But I understand. She, the beautiful girl in front of me, she looks shoes and dresses. And I'm Israel Chai. This is my phone. But maybe the Am Israel Chai is like the similar thing that Jeremiah, who looked like loco, buying land. When we say Am Israel Chai, it's just more than it's a statement of faith. To sing Am Israel Chai in a world that doubts if we should live, it's an act of faith. To ask ourselves, we will keep sending our children to Jewish schools? We will keep walking into synagogues with heads held high? Aventura is a cocoon, it's chiquitito in comparison with the rest. We will pick living out loud, loving our people, speaking truth, pursuing peace, even when it feels like we are doing so alone. I think of Sarah of blessed memory, and Yaron, young, idealistic diplomats. They too were buying land in a besieged world. They stood for decency, for dialogue. They were not naive. They were brave. And the memory now becomes our mission. Yes, we are afraid. Yes, we are grieving. But no, we will not despair. And no, we will not give up because hope is not pretending everything is okay. Hope is acting as if the future is still ours to build. So let's build, let's believe. Let us choose life again and again and again and again. Because houses and fields and vineyards shall yet again be bought in this land. And because being Jewish in a world that tries to erase us is the same kind of revolutionary faith. So I want to ask not what we will do, but what we are feeling. How do we carry the heaviness in this moment? Where do we place our sadness when words fail and silence feels safer? What do we do with the love we still have for this world, even as it breaks our hearts? And how do we let ourselves feel joy again, even just a flicker, without guilt or shame? Because hope doesn't ask us to ignore our pain. Hope asks us to bring our pain with us and still move forward. Like that prophet in jail. It asks us to cry, to rage, to ache, and still show up with hearts that refuse to close. That is the kind of hope that Jeremiah gave us. He wasn't naive. He was heartbroken. But he still bought the field, because hope isn't the absence of pain, it's the decision that pain won't have the final word. And neither will hatred. This Shabbat, let us hold one another gently. Let us name our fears honestly. Let us grieve what we have lost and cradle what we still have, and let us remember hope is not a light switch. It's a flame we protect with everything we've got. May the memory of Sarah and Yaron be a blessing, and may we have the strength to carry their legacy. And that's our challenge too, to hold into the hope when our hearts are shattered, to wake up in the morning with the weight of sorrow pressing on our chest and still take a breath, to walk through the world carrying our fears, our grief, our anger, and still choose hope. We just read in the Haftarah, Mikveh Israel Adonai. The word mikveh inspire, which it comes from the Hebrew root kuf vav a, invites for tikva, and that's our national song. It hurts, it pains, it's scary, but od lo avda tikvateinu. The hope is intact. Shabbat shalom.